emotions coming from that left field bullpen?
Well,
and that full house?
Geez, I think the last time I walked out of the bullpen in a direct line to the mound was in 2001 Game 7. Outside of that, my path from the bullpen would be to the dugout before the game started, get my jacket off, and then we take the field. But yeah, that was it's a great moment. I mean, I was much more relaxed tonight than I was at the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is just it's the Hall of Fame, Here is my comfort zone. I mean, I was between the lines where I've been for 8 years, and the people that have watched me and I've performed for, and out on the field with familiar faces with Jerry and Joe and Derek and Ken and Gonzo, and I just there was a lot of emotion, but it was a very comfortable feeling opposed to the Hall of Fame, where the Hall of Fame, I met 2 wounded warriors from the Wounded Warrior Project 2 days before I took off for Cooperstown, and then I was also put in touch with Zach Farmer, All-American pitcher with Ohio State, who was battling leukemia, and he passed away on Tuesday, unfortunately, but had an opportunity to talk to him on the phone, and I talked to his wife, and then we texted a little bit. And so these were people that I had met before I went to Cooperstown that really weren't, last minute people that I met, that all of a sudden now I've incorporated, these people in my speech, because it's always been it's not been about me. It's been, like I said tonight, it's been about my journey and the people that got me there and kept me there, and these people that I meet, whether it's 2 weeks ago or 20 years ago, they've impacted my life too in some way or another, whether it's professionally or personally. So,
did you have any inkling what was underneath that big curtain?
I had no idea. I thought it was either a recliner, like a super big one, shack size, or it was a dunk tank or something. I had no idea. But that is a drum kit. It's a Neil Peart 30th anniversary drum kit, and I believe there's only 3 or 4 in existence. The company that made it is DW. I'm very familiar with that because they're my friends, and I just got off the road with them earlier, about 2 months ago. And it was a drum kit that I was looking to purchase, and I'm not a very good drummer, so I just couldn't feel like I was worthy enough to have a drum kit like that in my house. But I will move my family room furniture out to make room for that. I don't know where it's going, but I will. But no, I'm just over the top emotions and great feelings, and I could have talked for 10 more minutes and mentioned more people. I could have mentioned more of the coaching staff. You just don't. When you're out there, the people that I really wanted to touch on was, because this is about Arizona now, it's not about 22 years in a hole at the Hall of Fame. And I feel like I did that a little bit at the Hall of Fame. But here it's about my teammates, the clubhouse people that make things work, front office people, and the fans. And I feel like I touched on that, and that's important to me because I want them to know that they were important to me along the way.
Has this all set into you? Obviously, being at Cooperstown, you mentioned about getting a phone call, but the finality that you were there, you got your plaque and everything. When did it all finally set in and hit you?
Well, I was pretty nervous. I went over in a bus on induction day with, there was 2 Hall of Fame buses with living Hall of Fame players, and I was in one, and Frank Thomas, who got inducted last year, was sitting in front of me, and as we were entering the grounds, you could see cars, people, the staging area where we would be, and Frank turns around and says, "Has it sunk in yet?" And I think at that point, it probably hadn't. When I got out of the bus and sat down behind the stage, they were introducing the past Hall of Fame inductees, and they were taking the stage, and then me and my other 3 inductees were being, I think then, you know, it was, but like to think that I take things in stride, and I'm, you know, very, very humbled and honored. And I was extremely emotional there, and much more comfortable today. And it just, it's been a crazy, I mean, because you've all seen, you know, you saw footage of what I looked like back in college and the minor leagues and early major leagues, and you saw interviews of people. You know, I struggled, and to get where I eventually got, and to have some success, and to really enjoy that success, I thrived on that, and I wanted to be able to do more, and do it more often, and do it consistently. And it took a long time, and the story is well documented. But early on in my career, I never fathomed any of this. I mean, who does? You know, from winning 300 games to being second to, you know, Nolan Ryan in strikeouts, to throwing a perfect game at 40 years old, to, you know, doing things that, you know, only one other person has done in the history of the game. You know, striking out 300 with Nolan Ryan 6 times, things like that as a power pitcher. I never fathomed any of that. And the one thing that my dad taught me was don't get caught up in that, because you'll lose focus. And so I never really got caught up. The only uncomfortable moments I really ever had was standing after I pitched, good, bad, or indifferent. And it was easier to talk when I didn't perform well than when I did. When I did pitch well, I expected to pitch well, because I worked my butt off 4 days leading up to that, mentally, physically, in the training room, watching video and knowing their strengths and weaknesses. And but I never got caught up in it. I tried not to anyways. I mean, there was moments where, you know, people say, well, you know, for the most part, people have always seen one side of me, and now I'm much more relaxed. But, you know, if you could have seen me the day that I threw my perfect game, you know, in my hotel room at about 3 o'clock, belly laughing all night. You know, just, you know, the night that I hit my first and only home run, you know, seeing how Robbie Hammock was so happy catching the perfect game. You know, I mean, I was exhausted after these games, but seeing the joy that Robbie Hammock had, seeing the joy that, you know, after striking out 20 in a game, you know, I just didn't get caught up in these things, and I think that was good. And it took me a long time to get where I needed to be, and I think I appreciated the road, and I've never forgotten that road on how long it took to get me there. So I never got caught up in those accomplishments, and I think that was a good thing.
Why do you think it was easier to talk to people like us after a loss or after a bad outing than?
I think because I failed. I think I think I sensed that my teammates, the fans, you know, and media here locally and even nationally over time expected a certain type of performance. If I didn't perform to that level, I was usually answering why didn't you, opposed to, well, it's just ho-hum game. There was games where fans got more excited when I got a base hit here than when I strike out 15. And that was because that was part of and that's great. But that's probably why. You know, I mean, you guys would expect, I would expect, you know, maybe not, you know, big numbers, but I would expect to keep us in the ball game and have a good chance of winning. That's what I thrived and worked hard to do. And when I didn't do that, I feel like I let everybody down.
Randy, did you sense that this particular environment tonight would be more relaxing?
Oh yeah, can't you tell that I was relaxed out there? I've only watched my induction speech from the Hall of Fame one time, and I beat myself up because I'm the one talking, so I don't know how it comes across until you actually watch it, and I beat myself up pretty good, and I'm happy with it. You know, I touched on things that are important to me from my heart. You know, I had a speech prepared, but, you know, talking from the heart, you can never go wrong. And, you know, I talked from the heart. about things that are important to me, you know, my family and, you know, Zach Farmer, and who I'd never even met. But I knew he was battling, and we had a, you know, a bond in the sense that he's a baseball player and pitcher, and liked me and looked up to me, and you know, the Wounded Warriors, who, you know, I've been touring, going on USO tour since I retired, and to meet two Wounded Warriors in the Wounded Warrior Project, you know, these are people that, you know, put their lives on the line, and so it was a little more emotional there. Here, it's my comfort zone. I'm between the lines, like I just said, and with people that I know, and so.
What was it like when you saw the 51 up there next to?
Very cool. Yeah, yeah. I just, like I said, you know, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just like, it's like one thing after another, you know, a Hall of Fame plaque, and you don't prepare for this kind of stuff, you know? You don't prepare for this. So you know how bad I was. In my career, it was a long, I mean, who prepares for, I mean, look at that, you know, they had my number on the side of it. Who prepares for this kind of stuff? You know, I mean, my goodness, you go back to 91, 92, I think probably the Seattle Mariners were probably wondering, is this guy ever going to pan out? You know? So, I mean, I'm so, when I say I'm honored and humbled, I truly am, because I feel like I take it in stride. It's almost like it's not happening. It's surreal. Because who prepares for any of this kind of stuff? The Hall of Fame. My goodness. You know? But the cool thing about these things is I'm able to share them with people that enjoy it as well. I'm sharing all my success over the years. As I mentioned, all the teams that I played for, the fans everywhere, my family and teammates. So I've probably played with at least 1,000 different teammates. You know, I've shared those moments, and I could still be out there talking right now, going and rattling down all the people that I played with. Unfortunately, I don't have time, but you know, the nucleus of the body of the people that I played with from '99 to 2003 were the guys that I mentioned, and those are the people that made me successful. This isn't golf. You know, I'm not in control of, you know, from tee box to green, put it in the hole, and I got nobody to blame. You know, it's this is a team game, and I'm responsible for doing my job. But then after that, there's no assurance that I'm going to win. And then on the other hand, I can shit the bed, and I've done that a lot, and you know, either spit the hook or would pick up a win. And then there's times where, you know, you pitch really well and you lose. That's all part of it. But you don't win by yourself out there. You give yourself and the team a chance to win based on your performance, and you let everybody else do their job. And the people that did their job for that time that I was here did it really well, and they helped me get to where I'm at. And that's why I'm in the Hall of Fame. And that's why I, from 22 years of that, my body of work, but I got inducted and I went in as a Diamondback because my body of work far overshadowed anywhere I played, especially Seattle. Seattle was great. I had really good years there, but I had better years here in a short period of time.
What do you think?
We gotta bring over to the
As a ball player, what is it like to have your number retired, for an organization to never allow a ball player to ever wear your number ever again? Just what is it like for a ball player to know that your number is going to be never used again?
Well, it's good. My jersey was probably too long to have anybody use it anyway. So it's probably a good thing that it was being retired because my jersey was pretty long. But I'm humbled and honored, and you know, I'll go home tonight and probably sit in my backyard with some friends and drink a beer and just be beaming a little bit. And that's something that, you know, people don't see a lot, but they hopefully been seeing a lot over the last 6 years. You know, got a lot to be happy about. I'm enjoying life now, and I'd like to think that I took my job extremely serious, maybe to the next level, but I wouldn't change a thing because it was what it was, and that's how I knew how to go about it. So, thank you. Yeah, thanks, man. I'll probably get some drum lessons here pretty soon too.